Don't call it a doll, call it an action figure. The large size Kenner released Star Wars action figures, and why this one's naked, next on Retro Serial. Hey everyone, welcome to Retro Serial. I'm your host, DNC. We talk about everything growing up Generation X. That includes movies, music, arts and entertainment, society in general, and yes, even action figures or toys. Recently, in an attempt to beef up my studio, I went in and dug up some of my old toys and old memorabilia from Generation X, and I came across this guy right here. So as you notice already, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Kenner lineup of these action figures, but I first wanted to get out of the way this particular one right here and why it's naked. Well, I'm certainly not trying to get demonetized by showing a naked Luke Skywalker here, but I just wanted to share with you a little bit about this personal item in an attempt to build my studio up here. I went into my garage and opened a few old boxes to get out some of my personal Generation X memorabilia, and yes, here I found this naked Luke Skywalker. As you can see, I did not take care of it. The hands are chewed up. My dog at the time did that. This is an original 1978 Luke Skywalker. It's got the holes in the feet there with the limited mobility. It originally came with a lightsaber, which I wasn't thrilled with because it was a shorter lightsaber. It looked kind of cheesy, and a grappling hook. Well, what happened to this guy here was my neglect and my overenthusiastic love for everything ninjutsu during the 80s. While this was, a 1978 doll, a 1978, action figure, in the 80s, I was just crazy about everything ninja, and I had talked my grandmother into making a ninja outfit for this guy. That's why it's got this vest here that's not original to Luke Skywalker, this original Luke Skywalker. Of course, he did have a black outfit in Return of the Jedi, but that's not what this is. This is something that my grandmother sewed, and we actually had a whole ninja outfit at one time, but that's just been lost to history, and what we have here is this mangled doll. So we'll talk a little bit today on the program about the original king size lineup. But before we do that, now that you've heard this story, please do me the honor of liking this video and subscribing to my channel. Those two things mean the world to me. I'm really trying to, do YouTube professionally to a degree, as least professionally as I can, and that's where you can come in and help by liking and subscribing, and also share it on your favorite social media. Let everybody else know about the wonderful content you're getting here on Retro Serial if you like everything growing up Generation X and a little before and a little beyond. And what else can you do? Well, you can hit the bell notification if you want to know when these things are available. And what else can you do? Oh yeah, you can part with some of your hard-earned cash. Hey, you're not using it right. I would be honored to use your cash to help all of my wildest YouTube dreams come true. Follow the link below to the Buy Me Coffee page where you can part with some of it for me, for this, right? Okay, well, with that said, let's talk a little bit about the Kenner lineup of these king size, not dolls, king size action figures. Well, I think the first thing we have to discuss is why they decided to go with the king size action figure in the first place instead of sticking with the smaller action figure, which we are all used to. Well, the reason is previously action figures were this size, particularly the G.I. Joe, and Kenner was just looking to get in on some of that G.I. Joe action. So they came out with 3 waves of these taller action figures. The first wave of these action figures was released in 1978 and consisted of Luke Skywalker, Leia, Chewbacca, Darth Vader, C-3PO, and R2-D2. So it was a seriously limited run. And of course, there were a lot of action figures, a lot of main players in Star Wars that were omitted. But they pretty much came out the next year. In 1979, they also released Han Solo, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Stormtrooper, Jawas, and Boba Fett. So those were the two main ones. What's interesting is that in 1980, they were trying to release another line based on The Empire Strikes Back. And they had some prototypes made. They had a prototype of Lando Calrissian. They had a prototype of Luke again in his Vespin suit, and they actually had Luke in a few other suits and stuff that actually it's really, really difficult to find. In 1980, they only actually released one more, and that was IG-88, and none of the other ones, if they even exist, hit shelves. Now, I tried to look up some of them, and I couldn't quite tell if they were, real or fake. There's pictures of some of these, but the only thing that I could find that seemed to be legitimate was the boxes. So you would have the box before it's actually assembled with the action figure in it of Leia, and it had Luke in his Hoth suit and Luke in his Vespin suit. And so those seem to be legit, but I hear that if you can find one of those unreleased items that they go for quite a bit. As a matter of fact, the only one, like I said, that they did release was IG-88. And because it was just a few of them that were released as a result of Empire Strikes Back, that's the most expensive in the collection of the king-size action figures. And finally, I want to talk about the end of the king-size action figures and why Kenner decided to discontinue them. Well, they really shot themselves in the foot, because in 1978, while they did produce these, they also produced the smaller size action figures, which were just wildly popular. And yeah, that is an original Han Solo, by the way. But these became super popular and became the standard in the industry. And even the G.I. Joes, which were large, started in the 80s to produce action figures this size, and the whole industry just kind of went that way and left sales of the king size action figures at an all-time low and just discontinued. Now that's unfortunate, because I would have loved to have seen the king size version of Vespin Luke especially. So that's the end of the story. Well, it's not quite the end, because of course you can buy the tall size action figure now. They do exist. They have been reprinted. Of course, they're not as valuable as the original. And I do have a couple of those that I planned on digging out. I have actually even one that might be a little bit valuable. It's Mace Windu before Attack of the Clones, before he decided to have a purple lightsaber, and it comes with a blue lightsaber. They're a little bit different, and like I said, of course, they're not as valuable as the originals. And even this one, which has been through the ringer, does carry value to it. But if it was in good condition, it would carry a lot more value. So if you got any of these, make sure you take care of them. Well, that's it for the video today, folks. Thank you so much for watching this. Please, once again, do me the honor of subscribing to my channel, liking this video, sharing it on your favorite social media, and if you happen to want to part with some of your hard-earned cash, please follow the link below to the Buy Me a Coffee page. And until we meet again, stay retro, everyone.